They say go big or go home. Well, these 5 rides, they all go big, and they'll definitely get you home. We've got extreme endurance.
We are using a car where you would not expect to use a car.
The bigger you go, the better it seems to land.
Futuristic and fierce.
It sounds like a growling beast.
This truck is very powerful. You just fly.
And serious speeds.
This thing, it does not stop accelerating.
If you want something that can do the business and crush the competition, have I got the rides for you. Our first ride stands head and shoulders above the competition.
The most luxurious car of its kind.
Smooth, sophisticated, and total luxury.
Napa leather, very comfortable, quiet. It's a nice place to be.
But to be an ultimate ride, it needs to cope with every scenario.
You can pick up the kids from school, or you can survive the apocalypse. It sounds like a muscle car or like a growling beast.
Brother, nothing is standing in the way of this super SUV.
It's like being James Bond. It's bulletproof.
This is the Rvan tank.
My dad was a fighter pilot, and I grew up on a base, and I was surrounded by all these really cool, military-type vehicles, and that really sparked my interest in military aspect of the car designs. I first started envisioning the Rvan tank in 2017, and the goal behind it was to create a car that's brutal, that can conquer anything off-road, that's unstoppable by both terrain and by anything that humans throw at it, and can be daily driven. It's bulletproof and has 20 cool security features that James Bond would love to get his hands on.
Hard on the outside and soft on the inside. The Rvan tank will save your life and carry you in comfort, all at the same time. Designed as the toughest, most powerful, road-going, extreme utility vehicle on Earth, this beast can withstand machine guns and IEDs. Despite being fairly heavy, it packs a punch, and it was even featured in the latest Men in Black movie. And you can pick one up for a mean $350,000.
The design, we first started with idealization sketches, which are sort of designing the theme of the car, then moved to a 3-dimensional CAD file. The next stage is the mechanical part, which is the engine and suspension, the body fitment. There's about 40 different body parts that comprise the tank. From there, it goes on to paint and finishing in the satin matte colors. Finally, any other accessories that are installed, audio, auxiliary fuel tanks, safes, those types of things.
Ferris has fabricated his fantasy and brought detail and dedication to every part of the design.
Underside of the tank of course, has explosive protection and can balance on rocks. There are automatic side steps that come out that allow easy entry into the tank. The exterior of the car is finished in a satin and matte paint job, which gives it that stealth look. The glass is bulletproof. The doors have angled armored steel inside the door panels. Magnetic deadbolts on the side of the doors, as well as electrified door handles. Wheels and tires are bulletproof. Underneath the front mirrors are pepper spray dispensers and a microphone. Blinding lights, strobe lights. Tank is equipped with a smoke screen to allow you to lose any trackers.
Brother, I am speechless, man. If you're fighting a Rvan, you're messing with the wrong kind of ride.
So the interior of tank is a very comfortable place to be. Napa leather seats, also sirens. You have a PA system up here. And you have the thermal night vision camera that displays the images here in the center screen.
The exterior is deadly. The interior is luxury yet fully equipped. But what's this baby like on the open road?
I drive tank every day to and from work. It feels like you have an Iron Man suit on, like you're Iron Man. You feel invincible, you feel like a different person, you almost feel immortal. And I think that's the appeal of the tank.
It may be safe and stealth, but it definitely ain't subtle.
Every time I drive it, it gets so much attention. Everybody's always filming the car on either side, and it gets a lot of, attention, thumbs ups, and it's fun bringing a smile to people's faces.
The Rvan is rad. If you want something to get you out of trouble while cruising Cali in style, man, this is the ride for you.
I'm very proud of what we've created because it was always my childhood dream to have a car in production that people would love. And the tank was our success story from that dream.
From a treat of a tank to a transformed Tesla. Now, I'm the first to admit, I prefer gas over electric when fueling a ride. But our next baby is coming from a place I can totally get along with.
This truck is very powerful. It's not like a gas power motor where you're feeling that torque and that rise. This thing is just on, you just fly.
This build had just one simple aim, to bring 21st century tech to a classic American pickup.
We have a feeling that this is the way hot rodding is going, so we wanted to show everybody that you could actually have an electric vehicle that is cool.
This is S2 Esla.
In order to stand out in a crowd of a bunch of people, you kind of have to do something extreme. So that's how we came up with this design. We've decided to build a really exotic-looking hot rod with not one, but two Tesla motors. What influenced us when we designed this truck was basically taking JDM-inspired race vehicles with the carbon fiber look and American muscle, so you kind of have the best of both worlds. Having two Tesla motors would be like having two V8s in your truck. One of these motors would be sufficient to push this truck and have power and have a lot of fun. But again, you want to be fast, you want to be extreme, we're going to throw two of them in there.
The S2 Esla is a reworked 1985 Chevy C10. Its name riffs on the garage's initials, Salvage to Salvage, and Tesla, whose two Model S engines now power the truck. The only stock part that remains from the original square body is the front grille. The plan was to launch the truck at SEMA.
Something like this would take most people a year to 2 years to build it, but because we were building it for the SEMA show, we didn't have a whole lot of time. We also never built an electric vehicle before. And not only that, we also built a vehicle that nobody else has built. Not even people who are doing electric conversions really knew how we're gonna be able to control the motors and all this stuff. We really had to kind of figure out a lot of stuff on our own. It got a little stressful, but I think as a team, we all pulled together and got it done, man. Because of the time crunch for SEMA, we weren't really able to send the truck out to paint. So we decided to go ahead and throw this Avery 3M wrap on it. I'm pretty stoked on what we went with. It looks great with the carbon fiber. We built these carbon fiber fender flares completely in-house, from design to molds to the piece itself. We wanted this truck basically to look as low and as wide as possible, almost like taking a cartoon rendering and bringing it to life. One of the main features of the truck are our front large drive unit out of our Model S. We have two Mishimoto intercoolers here. A lot of people don't realize electric cars require a coolant system, but they do. Here's our battery pack. It starts here and goes the complete floor of the truck to the front of the firewall.
Everything on this build is packed to perfection.
We had a custom infinity light built into the back of the tailgate, which is pretty neat. On the interior of the truck, we wanted to have it a very race-inspired feel. You have your roll cage. Here you got a quick-release steering wheel, which makes it a little easier to get in and out of this truck, but also have some of the modern technologies and luxuries that you would find in a Tesla.
When this baby finally hit SEMA, the response was insane.
The amount of people that came to SEMA to see this truck was awesome. A lot of really great response. And some negative, but if people aren't hating it, then we must not be doing something right.
Not only does the truck look good, it drives like a beauty too.
Driving the S2 Esla is like driving nothing that I've ever driven before. You're used to like turning a key and hearing a motor start. With this, you don't have that. You press some buttons and it's on, and you hit the throttle pedal and it just boogies. To all the haters that think that electric isn't cool and we can't build some hot rod with electric, I would say to them, don't knock it until you try it. It's very freaking cool.
From an electric shocking Chevy to a titan of a truck. Everyone has a ride they've dreamt of owning their whole life.
When I was growing up, I always saw people flying through the air, and I just knew I wanted to do it, but I didn't think I'd ever be able to.
Only a few get to see that dream become a reality.
When I do it, I'm like, wow, I made it in life. Always wanted to go bigger and better or faster.
This is Joe Fly's jumping megatruck.
The Joe Fly name started just from fixing cars, and I've been known to try and fix anything, and some people just said, oh, they're Joe Fix. And then if I drove my truck, they'd say, well, Joe Fly, because I was always jumping.
Jordan started creating his own ride after attending a monster truck event in Florida.
I knew right then that that's what I was going to build. So when we came home, I started researching on how to do it and found out there's no real kit to do it. When I was building it, it started out as just a chalk drawing on the ground. I put the two lines on the ground where the center of the wheels were. All right, I think it could use a couple bars here. And then eventually it was a chunk of frame on the ground. And then from there, I mounted the cab on top of it, and then I built the roll cage inside of it and just kept adding pipes. It was a learning experience. So I'd spend the day during work Googling chassis setups, and then I'd stay at work and work on my truck.
It took Jordan 3 years of hard work and over $100,000 to achieve the ride of his dreams. It wasn't easy. He and his fiancée had to save every dollar to buy parts. At first, his family was unconvinced, but they've come around, and now his stepdad is one of his biggest supporters.
The engine's a 6.6-liter Duramax. What makes my truck different from most others is the fact that it is a Duramax. Most monster trucks have an alcohol engine or a gas-powered engine, and mine runs on diesel. It lacks in the horsepower department sometimes, but what it lacks there, it makes up for in reliability and torque. The transmission's a 2-speed power glide. It's a purpose-built race transmission. These transmissions would have been used from like 1950 all the way up to late 70s. They made millions of them, so parts are easy to find. I'd say I've rebuilt the transmission probably 5 times in the 5 years I've been driving it. Originally, the tires were designed for rice fields in China. They put them on their tractors in a very wet environment, so they put the biggest lug they can on them. Rims are trussed. They have rim stiffeners so that when I land, it doesn't fold the rim in on the ground, because the tires do collapse pretty far. Everything to do with the wheel I built. The outer ring is from a tractor. The face plate at the back was just a 1/2-inch plate of steel, and then the gussets are just 3/8 steel. Every part on it basically is welded together.
Jordan's monster is definitely built to be brutal.
You could drive through a big ditch and it won't hurt it. There's not much it can't go over or under or through. The first time I went big, it was at a local mud park, and everybody was standing there watching and expecting a lot out of me, and I went as fast as I could and hit it, and it landed terrible. It bent 2 rims, it bent the box side, it wrecked a pile of stuff, but I drove away from it, and everybody cheered like crazy.
Since that first jump, my brother Jordan's been pushing this ride harder and harder.
Until you take off, You're kind of just fingers are crossed and you're hoping you're lined up. And then once you're in the air, it's kind of feeling like being on a trampoline. Like you're weightless for a minute and then the landing comes, probably 60 feet, 70 feet would be the longest jump I've ever done. The bigger you go, the better it seems to land.
For Jordan, it's not just the thrill of flying, it's the lifestyle he loves.
What I love about mega trucks is more the people more than anything. Everybody's your friend. Everybody's always trying to help you. When you go to the mud bog and you wreck your truck or you blow it up, there's always the people at your camp waiting with like a barbecue. It's a big family. This is our life.
Our next ride is a special one.
I mean, it's a dream come true.
To drive a ride this fast doesn't come around often.
This thing, it does not stop accelerating. I jumped at the chance as soon as I had it. Who wouldn't?
And brother, when you have 2 jet engines on it, stats don't lie.
This thing from a standstill, it's the fastest pickup in the world.
This is Hot Streak 2.
So the truck was originally built 1992 or 93. The original builder his name was Les Shockley. The first jet dragster that he built for himself was called Shockwave. And my grandfather actually bought that from Les. And so he renamed it Hot Streak. When we had the opportunity to acquire the truck, it made perfect sense to name the truck essentially after his last car and make it the second as I'm the second. And I renamed it Hot Streak 2.
To pilot a ride like this, first you need to surround yourself with them. And that's exactly what Hayden did. Upon leaving high school, Hayden joined the Air Force, working as a mechanic on F-15 and B-2 stealth bombers. Here he learned the skills needed for his future jet job. And it wasn't long after leaving the military that the dream became a reality.
So here we have our twin-engine jet truck. It's a 1957 Chevrolet. It's actually a fiberglass cab, so it's not a steel truck. We actually got it's a Lexan, windows. We got 15-inch wheels up front and in back. These are actually a salt flat land speed tire, so rated for crazy, crazy speeds. We have our front and rear spoilers. They actually help aid in the downforce of the truck to where, we're not worried about when we're running those, real high speeds of the truck trying to lift. We got our parachute canisters. So we got one on each side. Each one has 2 16-foot ring slot parachutes in it. At over, 300 miles an hour, it's a negative 10 G hit when the chutes actually blossom. It literally feels like, even though I'm strapped in, it feels like it's gonna throw me through the windshield when the chutes hit. So our engines, these are jet engines. These came out of the Navy jet trainer that is a T2A Buckeye. They were non-afterburning in that airplane. And Les designed essentially his own afterburners. So now we have afterburners on both of these.
But a quick truck doesn't mean a quick entry.
So this is how we get in the fastest truck in the world. These are all my primary controls. And then these are all my switches to essentially activate, anything that we control electronically. Like I said, this is my go-go button. This makes us go real fast. It makes all the big concussions, the fireballs, burner pops. That's how I light my afterburner.
And boy, is this fast.
So the fastest I've been in this truck to date is gonna be right around 330 to 340 mile an hour range is the fastest I've been in it. It puts a smile on my face every time I get in it.
Sadly, Les is no longer with us, but still inspires Hayden every day.
Les actually passed away here a couple years ago. It was hard on my grandfather and a lot of us. Sorry. Les, he trained me to drive the truck. And taught me everything that I know about it. Every time I touch it, I get in it, I think about him. For this truck to be around as long as it has, and the speeds that we turn in it consistently, it's a testament to what he's built. To be able to be driving this now is, have to pinch myself still a couple times. You know, I still can't believe I'm doing it.
While Les's legacy lives on, his granddad is still a big part of the hot streak history.
Will I ever be able to fill my grandfather's shoes? Probably not. He has giant shoes to fill with all his accolades and everything that he's done in his racing career. But to be able to, you know, be named after him, to carry the family name on and the heritage of the family, it's something that I'm very proud of. I couldn't say that I would give it up for anything else. I don't think I would. To go that fast at these speeds, I'd boil it down. I'd call it one badass ride.
Sounds like my kind of ride. From a crazy fast Chevy to a six-wheeled Arctic animal. If you got plans to visit one of the coldest and most remote places on Earth, then you're gonna need to rock up in one special ride.
We are using a car where you would not expect a possibility to use a car. I mean, this is the highest, coldest, windiest place in the world.
With an average temperature of minus 67 degrees Fahrenheit and vast distances to cover, being able to trust your transport, man, that is a key to surviving.
What we do to the car makes a car do things a car can't do.
This is the Arctic Trucks AT44 6x6.
When we come down to Antarctica, you're gonna select the 6x6 because you know it's gonna be a lot more nicer to drive in. It's a lot more comfortable to travel in this difficult terrain.
After they experienced a challenging expedition in 2008, Emil and his team set out to create a 6x6 that could handle everything Antarctica threw at them. The AT44 uses a Toyota Hilux as its base vehicle.
We take the vehicle completely apart. We take off the body, we take off everything off the frame. 80% of the frame is new, and 20% are rebuilt completely. And then we are adding on to it to ensure functionality.
The AT44 6x6 is powered by a 3-liter diesel engine running on jet fuel so it can cope with temperatures as low as minus 75 degrees Fahrenheit. With no local infrastructure for refueling, the truck carries 750 liters of fuel plus a further 1,400 liters in barrels.
Here we have the tire we co-developed with Nokian in Finland. This tire is really giving us good efficiency. It's pretty wide, has a very soft sidewall, so it flexes really well. The compound is such a way that in minus 40, we're not seeing any cracks. 6 tires give you more traction, more flotation, you can carry more, and you can go steeper. We try normally to stay within 50 kilometers an hour. When you absolutely know the conditions are good, you can go a bit faster, but so often you don't know the conditions.
Over 500 hours have been spent fine-tuning every detail of the AT44, from strengthening the suspension to improving the vehicle's center of gravity.
It's very focused on having the car with a low center of gravity. This makes a huge difference when we're traveling in slopey or hilly terrains. Of course, it drives all 6 tires.
And then there's a wide range of optional extras, including a front-mounted crane, a super rugged trailer, and even an onboard ground-penetrating radar to detect hidden crevices under the snow.
If a vehicle falls in a crevice, it can fall 30, 40, 50 meters. The risk of going into the Antarctica plateau and failing is enormously expensive. You want to go with something that you have experienced and know. Knowing what's likely to fail is just as important to know what's not likely to fail. Then you know what spare parts you have to have with you, what tools and everything like that. Frequently, the truck is your lifeline. You grow to love it because you know there's so much riding on it. At this point in time, this is the vehicle we trust the most.
A true ultimate ride that keeps you alive. Nothing I like more than a beautiful ride, but you gotta respect how these babies always deliver. They got your back, and that feels good. See you next time on Ultimate Rides.